Good morning. Today in this lecture I want to discuss about overhead lines. Okay, means of our power system. Okay, when we are talking about our power system, okay, here we have to talk about our overhead lines of power system. Okay, so our electrical power. So when we are talking about our electrical power system, definitely we should talk about our overhead lines. Okay, so when I'm talking about our overhead lines, we can tell here that our overhead lines may be used to transmit or distribute electrical power. Okay, I think when we are talking about our transmission line and distribution line of the power system, so I think you have seen the overhead lines everywhere. Okay, and obviously when we are talking about our power transmission line, we are using this type of overhead lines for our transmission and distribution. See the network of transmission and distribution. If you have not seen, go and see, you can understand. Okay, go and see the transmission network and distribution networks. You can easily understand that for transmission and distribution of electrical power, we are depending upon overhead lines. So the successful operation of an overhead line depends a great extent up to mechanical design of the line. Okay, because the line will or the overhead line, when we are talking about our overhead line, so obviously we should talk about our mechanical design, because mechanical support is highly essential there, or the weight of the conductor and all that should be bear by the support. So for that we should talk about the mechanical support. Then when we are talking about the construction of overhead line, we should talk about it should be or we should ensure that mechanical strength of the line uh, should be provide or line this should be provided against the most probable weather conditions also. Okay, because I am not talking about only the conductor. Obviously the conductor will be should be supported. Okay, the weight of the conductor should be supported, but when we are talking about the mechanical design also, then we should talk about our weather condition also there. Okay, so and in different weather conditions, sometimes wind flow speed may be 100 kilometer per hour, sometimes it may be 20 kilometer per hour, snowfall or any kind of storm. Okay, so obviously we should talk about our weather condition also, or we should keep attention our weather condition also when we have to design our uh, transmission and distribution networks, or when we have to trying to design our overhead lines for the transmission and distribution network. Now the main component of the overhead lines are what? That is our I've seen here. So that see the slide here. Or here the main components are, first one is our conductor, and obviously you know that this conductor carry electrical or electricity or electrical power from the sending end station to the receiving end station. Okay, that means generating stations are generating the electrical energy, and consumers are there to consume the electrical energy. So the conductor, the work of the conductor, the function of the conductor is what? It will carry the conductor from the sending end to receiving end. Okay, and the this conductor is the main important part, I think, or most uh, important part of the transmission and distribution network, and therefore proper choice of material and size of the conductor is of considerable, or the proper choice of material and size of the conductor is considerably important here. Okay, so the conductor material used for transmission and distribution of electrical power should be as per the following properties, or should be as per the following discussion I am telling here. Okay, 1 minute here. So when we want to talk about the properties of the conductor, okay, so these four points are highly essential when you have to talk about the properties of conductor, and the following properties are very important, playing important role when you have to choose a conductor of the transmission and distribution network of the power system. So the first property of the conductor is it is high electrical conductivity. The conductivity of a conductor should be very high. That means we have to choose a conductor whose conductivity is very good or very high. Then the next point is high tensile strength in order to withstand mechanical stress. So obviously when you have to talk about our conductor, that conductor should withstand the mechanical stress also. Okay, the weight of the conductor should be bear by that conductor also. So for that, to bear the mechanical stress or the suppose due to some environment impact, some wind flow or any kind of storm is happening or snowfall is happening, then that conductor should withstand those mechanical stress also. So for that, high tensile strength, okay, should be there for the conductor to withstand the mechanical stress. And then our next point is low cost. The conductor should be, as when we are talking about the job in a conductor, okay, because we are using the conductor for the transmission distribution, okay, in every network. So that means we are using the conductor to transmit or to send the power from the sending end to receiving end, as the transmission and distribution line is a very long network. So for that, the cost should be low. Okay, similarly the next point should be required when we have to choose the conductor of the transmission and distribution network. Then the low specific gravity should be there, so that the weight per unit volume of the conductor should be small. Okay, so these are the points we should keep attention when you have to choose the conductors. So when you have to talk about our overhead transmission line, our first main component is what? Conductor. Then the next important component of the overhead line are supporting or supports or supporting towers. Okay, so these supports should be made of poles or towers, and these towers or poles should be keep the conductor at a suitable level above the ground. Okay, then the next important component is what? Our insulators. So insulators are attached to the supports and insulate the conductor from the ground, by which I can isolate the electrical power from the living beings or from the other animals and living beings, humans. Okay, we should isolate, our aim should be there to isolate the electricity from us. So for that, insulators are there. Okay, then the next important component is cross arms, and these cross arms are provide support to the insulators. Okay, then the next miscellaneous items such as phase plates, danger plates, lightning arresters, anti-climbing wires. Okay, so to continuity or the continuity of operation in the overhead line depends upon the choice of above components, and therefore it is profitable to have dedicated or to have when we have to choose the main components for the overhead line, we should talk about the profitable discussion here. Once we have, our aim is we have to make a very good efficient transmission distribution line network. So for that, we have to choose the suitable conductors, insulators and supports and everything, or cross arms. So we should talk about everything, and accordingly we have to choose the proper suitable materials for that, by which we can get a very efficient system. Okay, now come to discuss about the supports. Okay, supports of the overhead line. So now our aim is what? We have to talk about, or we have to cover line support. So let you know that line supports are also a very important part of the overhead line. So when we are talking about the supporting structure for overhead line conductors, these are of various types of poles and towers, and which are called line supports. In general, the line supports should have the following properties I have written here. The first point is high mechanical strength. Why? Because of my high mechanical strength is required to withstand the weight of conductor and wind loads, etc., or snow. If some snowfall will be there, okay, those those environmental impact loads will should be bear by the line supports. So for that, high mechanical strength should be there for the line supports. Then the next point is light weight. Okay, light in weight should be, when you have to choose a line supports, the weight should be light without loss of the mechanical strength, because mechanical strength should be as it is as per the requirement, but we should choose a material by which you can make the line support whose weight should be less without compromising the mechanical strength of the line support. Then our next point is what? Cheap in cost. Obviously we have to talk about the economical operation. Okay, when we have to build something, we have to talk about our money to invest there. So in economical aspect of view, okay, so we should talk about that the cost should be cheap. Okay, and obviously when we are talking about the maintenance cost also, the maintenance cost should be economical there. Okay, that means it should be economical to maintain also. Then the what I want to tell is the next property should be means the line supports life should be very long. Okay, and similarly the last property is what? It should be easily accessible, or easy accessibility of conductors for maintenance. Okay, that means if these kind of properties are satisfied, then we can make very good line support there. Okay, so the line supports used for transmission and distribution of electric power are of various types. Now we have to talk about the types of line support. Okay, so there are various types of line supports, including what? Wooden poles. The first one is what? Wooden pole. Then the next one is steel poles, and the next one is RCC poles, and the final one is what? Steel towers or lattice steel towers. So the choice of supporting structure for a particular case depend upon the line span, cross-sectional area, line voltage, cost, and local condition. Okay, so obviously when you have to choose the line support, because we have categorized it into 4 ways, that is wooden poles, steel poles, RCC poles, and steel towers. So we have to choose the supporting structure for a particular case, which will be depend upon our line span and cross-sectional area and line voltage and cost and local condition also. So now I want to talk about the wooden pole. So these are made of what? Seasoned wood, or it may be saal or chair, and are suitable for lines of moderate cross-sectional area and of relatively shorter spans, and the span may be of 50 meters. Okay, and for that, when I'm talking about this kind of wooden poles, the supports should be cheap, and normally when I'm talking about the wooden poles, okay, the supports are they should cheap, easily accessible are available and provide insulating properties also, and therefore these are widely used for distribution purposes in rural. Okay, these are widely used in distribution network in rural areas for economical point of view. Okay, now the wooden poles generally tend to rot below the ground level. Okay, that is the disadvantage here, because the wooden poles tend to rot below to the ground level. Above to the ground level it's okay, but below to the ground level it may be rot. So for that, causing a foundation failure. Okay, so in order to prevent this, the portion of the pole below to the ground level should be impregnated with preservative compounds like creosote oil. Okay, and the double pole structure of A and H. I am showing here the double pole structure. You can understand. Showing you 1 minute. So this is the double pole structure. Okay, of what wooden pole structure. Okay, and here I can tell here the double pole structure of A and H. The structure C, it may be look like A or it may be look like H. So the double pole structures of A and H types are often used to obtain a higher transverse strength, and the which could be economically provided by means of single poles. Okay, now we have to talk about the main objections which is coming under the wooden supports. The first objection is, I am showing you the first objection for the wooden supports. That is, first one is what? Tendency to rot below the ground level. Okay, so already we have discussed also this thing. So when we are talking about the wooden poles, so definitely here below to the ground level there is a tendency to the rot or to rot below the ground level. So for that, this is a main objection for the wooden pole. When you have to choose the wooden pole, then the next it should be comparatively smaller life. The life of the wooden pole is normally smaller in comparison to the other poles, and it may be maximum 20 to 25 years. So for that, this is also objection to choose wooden supports. Then the next objection is it can't be used for voltage which is higher than 20 kV. Okay, so this is also a main objection, because we are unable to use the wooden poles greater than 20 kV or for higher voltages. And similarly, the next objection is the mechanical strength of wooden pole is not too much. So here the mechanical strength of the wooden pole is very less in comparison to other poles and towers. And the next objection is it requires periodical inspection also, because when we are talking about different towers and poles, so in comparison to other poles and towers, we are requiring periodical inspection when we are installing or when we are choosing wooden poles as a line support. Okay, now come to the next support, that is our steel pole. Okay, as we are getting some drawbacks when we are talking about our wooden poles, so now we have to talk about our what? Steel poles. Okay, so when we are coming to steel poles, the steel poles are normally often used as a substitute for wooden poles. Okay, and already we have discussed about the drawbacks of wooden poles. So for that, when we are talking about steel poles, so the steel pole can replace the wooden pole, okay, as substitute. And because the steel poles are possessing greater mechanical strength, and the life of steel poles are very high, and they are permit longer span to be used, because when you are talking about the wooden pole the span is less there, but when you are talking about the steel poles the span of steel poles are longer. And for that, when you're talking about the periodical inspection, also the requirement of periodical inspection is less here. Okay, so such poles are generally used for distribution purposes in the cities. uh, Previously, though, we are talking about wooden poles we are choosing, but now the steel poles are replacing the wooden poles. And normally these the steel poles are used in distribution network for distribution purposes in overhead lines in cities. Okay, so this type of supports need to be uh, painted in order to prolong its life. And these steel poles are of three types. It may be rail pole. Okay, and the next one, I think go to the distribution network and see the transmission distribution line, overhead lines. You can understand you can understand the types of steel poles we are telling here. Okay, so the steel poles normally of three types. It may be rail poles. I think you have seen the rail poles in distribution overhead lines. Similarly, it may be also the tubular poles. I think you have seen the tubular poles also, and it may be rolled steel joints also. Okay, so all the three kind of steel poles I think you have seen in the practical uh, distribution network or distribution overhead line. Okay, now come when you're talking about uh, the other type okay, of the line support, that is our RCC pole. Okay, so RCC pole is our next category of line support. This RCC pole is what? Reinforced concrete poles. Okay, RCC pole means what? Reinforced cement concrete poles, and these have become very popular as line supports in recent years. Okay, though in past years we are choosing the wooden poles and steel poles, but in recent years we are choosing RCC poles or reinforced cement concrete poles. Okay, and they are, because they are offering greater mechanical strength. The line or the life of the RCC pole is very long, and they are permit longer span also. Okay, and as they are, when you are comparing the steel poles and RCC poles, these RCC poles are offering long span in comparison to steel pole, and here the give good outlook. Okay, means the RCC poles are normally give good outlook in comparison to other poles, and they require little maintenance and have a good insulating properties also. And I'm showing you the RCC poles. One minute, I want to show. So these are the RCC poles. Okay, these are the RCC poles I am showing here. Okay, and these RCC poles can be made for single or double circuits. The holes in the poles facilitate the climbing of poles, and at the same time reduce the weight of the line support also. Okay, see the holes they are available, so they are helping for the climbing, and also because of the holes we are able to reduce the weight of the line support also. And the main difficulty here is, with the use of these poles, it is high cost of transport owing to their heavy weight, because these are very heavy. The weight of RCC poles are heavy in comparison to steel poles and wooden poles, so the transportation cost will be very high also. Okay, and these poles are often manufactured at the site because of the transportation, because as we are talking about the transportation cost will be very high when we are talking about RCC poles. So for that we are trying to manufacture the RCC poles at the site, okay, by which we can minimize the transmission or transporting cost. Okay, now the next supporting for the overhead line is what? That is our steel towers. Okay, normally when you are talking about steel towers, okay, so in real practice actually when we are talking about wood and steel reinforced concrete poles, these are used for distribution purposes at low voltages, and it may be up to 11 kV. But for long distance transmission, for transmission networks, and where the voltage level is very high, okay, for long distance transmission at higher voltage, okay, we are not choosing RCC poles or wooden poles or steel poles. Okay, here we are choosing steel towers. Okay, and these are variably employed. Okay, steel towers have greater mechanical strength. Okay, the advantage of steel tower is what? They are offering greater mechanical strength, and the life of steel towers are very long. Okay, and these can be withstand with most severe, this can be these steel towers can be withstand with most severe climate conditions, and these are also permit the use of longer spans also. Okay, and the risk of interrupted service due to broken or puncture insulation is considerably reduced owing to longer spans. Okay, because the steel towers are offering longer spans. Now when you're talking about steel towers, these steel tower footings are usually grounded by driving rods into the earth, and this minimizes the lightning troubles as each tower acts as a lightning conductor. Okay, so because of that we are able to minimize the lightning troubles. Okay, this figure shows a single circuit tower. Okay, this figure, see the figure, these are the figure for a single circuit tower. Okay, means the first one, see the first one. The first one is the single circuit tower. However, at a moderate additional cost, we can make a double circuit for the tower. The right hand one is the double circuit tower, and the left hand one is the single circuit tower. We have made it. Okay, and that is for 110 kV. The single circuit tower is made for 110 kV, and the span is of 320 meter here. And similarly, the second one or the right hand side tower is made for 220 kV, and this is for double circuit. Okay, and the span of the double circuit tower is 320 meter. Okay, now when you are talking about the double circuit tower, it can be provided as, okay, see the diagram. Okay, when you are talking about a single circuit, and that as per the diagram of left hand one, okay, we have to understand. Okay, similarly see the right hand side diagram. This is the diagram for the double circuit tower. Okay, here the double circuit tower or double circuit has the main advantage is what? The advantage of double circuit is that it ensure continuity of supply because of the double circuit, and it can or it case there is a breakdown, in case suppose somewhere is some breakdown is happening in the circuit, then the continuity of supply can be maintained by the other circuit, as a double circuit is available, okay, with the tower, or when we are making a double circuit tower, it is possible that we can make a uninterrupted power supply, because if in a single circuit, if some breakdown is happening due to some abnormality, or due to some abnormal condition, then this will be maintained, or the supply will be uninterruptedly available because of the another circuit, okay. By the other circuit we can send the power, and the power will be uninterruptedly available for the consumers, okay. Now come to the next component, that is our insulators, okay. When we are talking about the overhead line, our next component is what? Insulators, the main component. This is also a main component in our overhead line, okay. Insulators are also playing very important role when we are talking about our overhead lines for transmission and distribution network, okay. So when we are talking about the insulators, okay, for overhead lines, overhead line conductors should be supported on the poles or towers, you know it. In our previous discussion, you know it that the conductors or the overhead line conductors are supported by the poles or towers, and here they are supported in such way that the current from conductors should not be flow to earth through the supports, okay. Because suppose I am talking about the steel towers and all that, if the conductor will be directly in contact with the line supports, then obviously the current will flow to the earth from the conductor, okay. But our aim is what? The current should not be flow from conductor to the earth, okay. So for that line conductor must be properly insulated from the support. Then only if the supports and line insulate, or if the support and conductor will be separated or isolated, then obviously the current will not flow from the conductor to the earth by the help of line support. So by using the insulators, we are able to make the isolation between the line supports and the conductors, and for that the line conductor must be provided insulated, and the line conductor should be properly insulated from the support, by which the current will not flow from the conductor to the earth. And this is achieved by securing line conductors to support with the help of insulators, okay. And the insulators provide necessary insulation between line conductors and supports, and thus prevent any leakage current from conductors to earth. The insulators should have the following desirable properties, okay. What are the properties I want to discuss now? The properties of insulator. We have to discuss about the properties of insulator now. The main properties are: first property is high mechanical strength, okay. The insulator should have high mechanical strength in order to withstand the conductor load, because the insulators are connected within the or between the line support and conductors. So obviously the insulator should be capable to bear the load of the conductor. So high mechanical strength is required to withstand the conductor load and wind load, or any kind of environmental load, or due to the environmental condition. If the conductor is getting some load, okay, that means the environmental due to the load produced due to the environmental impact, and the conductor load should be bear by the insulator, okay. So for that, the mechanical strength of the insulator should be very high. Then the next discussion is here the high electrical resistance of insulator materials. Okay, obviously when you are talking about the insulator, the resistance of insulating material should be high, by which by which the support line supports and the conductors will be isolated properly, and there should not be any leakage current to the earth. Okay, if the resistance of insulating material is very high, then uh, that is possible, or there is possible, or there we can avoid the leakage current to the earth. So that is our aim also, because we are trying to avoid the leakage current or any kind of current which is flowing from conductor to earth. Okay, so the resistance of insulating material should be very high. Okay, then our next advantage is or the next property of insulating material is, this is not advantage, I am talking about the properties here. So the next properties of insulator should be, it should offer high resistive high relative permittivity. See the third point, it should offer high relative permittivity of insulator material in order to dielectric strength. Okay, so here that means the dielectric strength of the insulating material should be very high. Then we are coming to the next properties of the insulating material. So the next property should be, that is the insulator material should be non-porous. Okay, and the also these insulating materials should be free from impurities. Okay, there should not be any kind of impurity in the insulating material, and there should not be any kind of cracks within the insulating material. Otherwise what will happen, if there will be some non-porous and impurity or any kind of crack in the insulator, what will happen, the permittivity will be lowered. So but what is our aim, where our aim is, we have to choose the insulating material which should offer a very great or very high permittivity. Okay, so the insulating material should not be or any kind of impurity or cracks. Okay, that is our aim, or that should be the property of what, insulating material. Then the next property of insulating material is, it is offering high, it should offer high ratio of puncture strength to the flashover. Okay, that means that is possible that sometimes it is possible that the flashover may be happen. Okay, so if any kind of flashover is happening, okay, at the time the insulating material, because within the line support and conductor insulating material is present, or insulating medium is present, so the insulate property of insulating material should be very high for the, or very high to the puncture strength. Okay, or very high ratio of the puncture strength to the flashover. The puncture strength of the, that means the puncture strength of the insulating material should be very high whenever flashover is there. Okay, so here when you're talking about the insulating materials, normally are commonly used material for insulating material, or insulating material for overhead lines are porcelain, but glass, steatite and special composition materials are also used to a limited extent, but porcelain is produced by firing at a high temperature a mixture of kaolin, feldspar and quartz. Because when we are talking about the insulating materials which are used in the overhead lines, normally these are made of porcelains. So the porcelain is normally constructed by firing at high temperature a mixture of kaolin, feldspar and quartz, and it is stronger mechanical. Means when you are talking about the mechanical strength of the porcelain, it is offering it more mechanical strength in comparison to glass, which is gives less trouble from leakage and is less affected by any kind of change of temperature. Okay, so this finishes our line supports of overhead line or overhead line supports. Thank you very much.